Hey, what's up, ladies and gentle tubers? It's Tyler from the eveRide channel, and today we are going over the best gloves for the money for cheap tightwads. All right, we've got several different sets of riding gloves, some like these $3 Harbor Freight gloves, all the way to these super nice Climb Dakar gloves, which were $9 a finger. Unless you had like 11 fingers, then they'd be less expensive, more expensive?
Stop.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we're going to put these gloves through a series of glove-related tests. We're going to fill them with sand and throw them off the back of a truck and drag them around a little bit. We're going to put them up against a what, a grinder?
Sure.
A grindy thingy. And then I'm going to just let you know how I've tested these gloves and how they've worked over the months and months and years in some cases that I've tested them. So in the lineup, we've got these brown Harbor Freight gloves. We've got some firm grip gloves from Home Depot. We have these Decade gloves from Amazon, which have got lots of armor, and I have put these through the whatever you put. What's something you put something
Ringer?
hard? The ringer. The gauntlet, because it's. And then these brand new ARC Battleborn gloves, which I got just a little while ago. Haven't tested them as much, but still put them through the grinder. What's another one?
Torture
test. Gauntlet. And then all the way up to the Climb Dakar Pro gloves, which were a very, very nice gift from my good friend Josh, aka Kyanine, but I'm gonna beat these things to death to see if they're worth the money.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Oh, that's right. So I do need to point out that this video is not sponsored by any company. Instead, my patrons will help support these videos in exchange for brutally honest reviews, including this one. I bought all of these gloves except for the ARC Battleborn gloves. These were sent to me by my good friend Justin so that I could test them and review them brutally honestly, just like I'm doing here. So first we'll start off with the dirt cheap Harbor Freight brown gloves. The Harbor Freight, goodness. Oh yeah, baby. So we'll start with the least expensive gloves. These Harbor Freight gloves were very tightwad friendly, but feature almost nothing. They're brown, they've got stitches. I remember that they were really uncomfortable when I was breaking them in, and they're still not that comfortable now. They've kind of got this crusty leather thing going on. However, they have been through some crashes in their days, and there's not one hole in them. For shorter rides, these work just fine, but for longer rides, they did get a bit uncomfortable. Like all the other gloves I'm testing, they're not waterproof. However, they are fairly breathable in warm weather riding, but offer very little cold weather protection, and have no armor other than a few sections of fairly thick leather. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be testing their abrasion resistance later in the video. All right, next up we've got these Safety Pro firm grip kind of mechanic style gloves from Home Depot. I think these were about 10 bucks. They've got these nice reflective fingertip thingies that are pretty cool. Nice and high vis, I like that about stuff. So like the Harbor Freight gloves, these have no armor, but that means that they are pretty comfortable. They do have a little bit more armor in the palm area, which is good for riding. However, it did split on my finger later. These are some very high visibility gloves from Home Depot called Safety Pro Firm Grip. Generally, more stitching means more pressure points around where you grip your handlebars and where the gloves tighten against your hand. Even with more stitching though, these gloves are more comfortable than the Harbor Freight Browns, and they've stood up to a fair share of crashing, but along the finger here, they did split. Obviously, they're not meant for rainy days or cold weather, but for warm weather riding, they were breathable and decently comfortable. All right, these Decade gloves I've had since I started riding, since about 6 years ago, and I have put these things through the ringer in so many different ways. Now these Decade gloves have held up to a massive amount of punishment, including several machine washes and being left out to dry in the desert sun, sometimes for days. Off the motorcycle, no lie, I've used them for weeding, landscaping, moving, and wrenching more than a few times, and on the bike, I've got around 30,000 miles on them. They've been through rain, snow, blistering sun, and they are a bit warmer than the other gloves, but even in the northern Arizona desert, they never felt uncomfortably hot. They feature something that the other gloves in my lineup don't, a nice gauntlet that can be worn over the cuffs of a jacket to prevent wind and moisture from going up your wrist. They are extensively armored throughout, and they make for great protection, but it is a bit, not much, but just a bit of a compromise in comfort. Comfort-wise, everything about the glove is great, other than these little nubs near the base of the fingers. With a few calluses, they're really not a problem, but like the other gloves, they won't reach their maximum comfort until they've been broken in after a few rides. They're still comfortable, but not quite as comfy as the premium gloves that are coming up on this list right now. So next we've got the ARC Battleborn gloves, which are fantastic gloves, but they are so close to the Climb Dakar Pro gloves. They're modeled after them, and so really I'm kind of going to do a head-to-head comparison of these gloves because they're so similar right here in the video. Both of these gloves have a lot of stitching and use leather which feels almost identical. Goat aniline leather on the ARC glove, and Climb's site just mentions leather. Anyhow, this means that both of them are far from comfortable when you first put them on and go riding. However, once the leather breaks in on both of these sets of gloves, they are extremely comfortable. The fit on these gloves is much nicer than the other gloves in this comparison. The Decades come pretty close, but these gloves do feel like a nice little hand hug once they've been broken in properly. A few things that I noticed from the Battleborn gloves was that on the first few rides, the armor over the knuckles really pushes against your knuckles, so even though they will break in, I just get a size larger than you're used to, so you don't have that discomfort initially. Also, the little middle finger indicator thing wore off after just one ride. It's a cool cosmetic touch, but don't expect it to last if you pick these up. The Velcro is really good, and the fit is great once they're broken in, and the padding and armor is exactly where it needs to be. They even claim to be touchscreen friendly for your phones, but on my old Galaxy S5 Active, they weren't. So are there any cons to the Climb gloves? They're $90 a pair and made by one of the most respected, well-reviewed companies in the ADV world, so there really can't be any cons, right? Well, let's get this out of the way first. They are really, really nice gloves, and they felt pretty good on my hands once they're broken in. But I still get a little of that feeling like the palm stitch digs in a bit, and the intentional tightness of the gloves means that neither the Battleborn or the Dakar glove fit my abnormally long thumbs very well. The Climb gloves bled black dye onto my hand for about 2 months after I got them, which isn't a deal breaker, but it's something that you should know if you plan on using them to ride to work. They've also got this little rubber thingy, which I presume is to wipe the goggles or face shield. That's what I tried to use it for anyway. And if it is indeed for that purpose, then it's pretty much worthless. Also, they've used some really fine Velcro for the wrist strap, which unfortunately has never held well and will come undone with very slight movements. So in every other way, the Battleborn gloves are functionally identical and very close to cosmetically identical. They've got armor in the same places, logos in the same places, reflective strips in nearly the same places. To compare these two without regard to price, in comfort and functionality, the Battleborn gloves are better. But what happens when you factor in the price? Well, the Battleborn gloves are $35 compared to $90 for the Climb gloves. So if you are a dirt cheap tightwad like myself, this one is a no-brainer. Alright, so all that being said, that's all just my opinion, and that doesn't really mean much. What really matters is we've got to test these gloves in a real abrasion resistance environment. So we're gonna go ahead and drag them behind a truck, and then we're gonna put the palms of each of these gloves up against a grinder and see which ones withstand the gauntlet. So after those tests are done, we should have a definitive winner of which gloves are the most comfortable, the most armored, the most protective, and I don't know, price-wise, which ones are the best value for money for a dirt cheap tightwad like yourself, like myself. Let's be honest. Putting sand in gloves so you don't have to. Oh, this is the one that hurts because this is the Climb glove. This is a $45 glove right here, just this glove alone. So people are probably thinking, what a wasteful jerk. He's just filling gloves with sand and he's gonna destroy them all. That's such a waste. Well, is it a waste if it saves you a whole bunch of money? Because who else is gonna do this? You gotta milk the sand down into the thumb. It's kind of cool. You want to feel this?
Maybe.
Not in any kind of a weird, like feel my thumb sand way. So I just had surgery, and I'm on drugs, hanging out the back of a truck, doing a motorcycle test on gloves. What could possibly go wrong? There we go. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, just don't hit the gas or the brakes real hard. Whoa, whoa, dude. Okay, you're good. Might as well add a pannier to the test for good measure. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's a good test. Nice. All right, that's good. Oh man, the things I do for you gentle tubers. Oh man. All right, so the road test didn't really do any damage to any of them, even though it was kind of fun. So we're just gonna go straight to the grinder. Okay, so this gets kind of loud, so we're just gonna grind away. All right. There we go. Okay, field gloves. Whoa, that was quick. Whoa. All right, decades. Wow. Wow. Okay, we finally made it. All right, the ARCs. That's pretty good. Still good, there's a little right there. There we go. Alright, now the climb gloves. These better last a long time. Oh my gosh. They're already gone. Yeah, they're already gone. Wow. Jeez, that's a surprise. So there you have it. You can see for yourself where the gloves tore in the palms and decide for yourself which gloves are best for you and your budget. If you need a new pair of gloves and want to help the channel a little bit, links to the lowest prices for all of these gloves are in the description for your convenience. If you enjoyed the video and felt like it might have been some value to you, please go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment below on your favorite pair of gloves, and go ahead and hit the subscribe button too. I try to release dual sport and adventure videos every weekend, all for free. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully these tests help you pick the best glove for your needs. A big huge thanks to my Patreon supporters for making tests like this possible, because without them I wouldn't dare ruin gloves like this, but with them I can do these tests, really put things through their paces, and see which is best. Much love everybody, eveRide out.